Hello and welcome back to the Mancunian way, and we have got a very special video for you today. Manchester City versus Arsenal, the top two from last year, go head to head again, and we have got a very special guest, PREMZY from PREMZY TV, big Arsenal fan. How are you, mate?
Oh, good, bro. I'm not really looking forward to the City Arsenal game, I'll be honest, because PTSD kicks in when we play Man City. But I'm all good, bro. We'll get cracking, we'll get into it, and we'll discuss what matters this season.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we both had pretty good starts. I think you're still undefeated, aren't you, in the league? Unlike us
In the
now.
league, yeah. But we got beat yesterday in Champions League, so
Wasn't
that's
going to mention that. I'm not mentioning the long
hampered the
game.
mood a little bit. It's hampered the mood a little bit, but yeah, in the league we're unbeaten so far.
Yeah, no, a good omen for you. I mean, how is it? How have Arsenal, in your opinion, started the season? Obviously, you've brought in Havertz, Rice, Timbers obviously got injured. How have your new boys settled and how have you looked?
Well, to be fair, I just keep it real 100% in it. I don't ever butter over anything. I say it as it is. I think we've been a contrast this season from last season. We were miles better last season than what we have been this season. Obviously, we are only like a point away from where we were last season. But it's a shame Timber got injured. We've seen him in the Community Shield against you guys. He was looking very good. Havertz, it's not a signing that I wanted. It's not a signing that I can see him working in the future. And I think many Arsenal fans are confused by it because we've kind of brought him in now to replace Granit Xhaka in that more progressive role. And he's levels below Xhaka. You know what I mean? I think Xhaka last year, he was great, influential, scoring goals, creating assists. His time prior to that wasn't the greatest, but he was influential on the team and what we did last season. Havertz, even when he's not playing well, even when it's not going for him, Arteta seems to be picking him. And it looks like he's going to end up falling on his sword with the Havertz one. 65 million, 300 grand a week. You expect somebody like that to come into the team and set it on fire. And I've said time and time again, the reason why I'm not confident with him, because he's been in the league for 3 years prior to coming to Arsenal. He understands the language. He's not had to move city. He's still in London. He's played under 3 different managers, one being Thomas Tuchel, who's a German international, and he's probably the best one out there. He couldn't get a tune out of him. It is not looking good with the Havertz situation. I think we do lack a striker because Gabriel Jesus, you'll know better than most. He's a very intelligent player. He can link up very well, but he's not a bagsman. He doesn't score bags full of goals, and he's not clinical enough, in my honest opinion. But we have approached games different, and I don't know whether that's Arteta trying to find a new way of maybe not trying to burn out in games or burn out too fast in the league. Maybe he might be looking at Pep and thinking, you know what, we can try to take our time with it, grind out the results, and then find our form and find our feet towards the back end of the season. But so far, I'll be honest, I've been underwhelmed, man.
Yeah, I mean, on the Gabby stuff, that was a problem we had. And then it got to a situation of you wanted him to play because you've probably seen it gives you 110%. It gives you everything. It leaves every last bit on the football field. But he's not a striker that will get you 25, 30 goals a season. That's the problem. Because if you give him 3 chances, he'll score 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4. And it's a lovely finish, but I can't remember. I think it was, what game was it? Where he was 1-on-1 and he just sort of capitulated in front of goal. That's the Gabby I know. And I loved Gabby. I thought he was an amazing player for us, but he seemed to make a better winger than he did a striker. If I'm totally honest. And he didn't have a bad record for us, but the trouble was he was in between the Aguero and the Haaland sort of dynasty. You're coming from Aguero, he's got to replace him, and then Haaland, and you just kind of knew his time was up, sadly.
I do think he definitely does tick us along when he's playing and he's in the team because he is that good. It's just I was screaming out before Martin before the Premier League kicked off. Last season, I was saying we need to go out there, get an Ivan Toney, somebody who's proven in the league, somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net. And then we can deploy a Jesus out on the right, maybe give Saka a rest at times, because we've seen now Saka could potentially be injured for this game coming up, which was a massive blow for us. But Arteta's got to take some responsibility now, because at what stage are you going to start managing his minutes? He's now, I think it's
about
8
to say that
consecutively.
Yeah, he seems to. I mean, the one thing Pep's very good at is managing minutes. So you'll see, like City will go, say we're 3-up in a game, like you were at Bournemouth. You get to the 60-minute mark. Even I've seen it in like the 55th minute. So saying like we're 3-up, he'll take Haaland off. He'll just go, right, you're going to rest for 40 minutes. But what I saw a lot of your fans were saying afterwards was he took Saka off far too late against Bournemouth.
Yeah,
and
100%.
It didn't help.
He was a bit of a passenger towards the end, though, Martin. This is it. Like you bang on there. Like with the Saka situation, I don't feel like he's got confidence in the likes of a Reece Nelson or an Emil Smith Rowe to go out on that side and play.
But
Obviously,
why give Nielsen $100,000 a week contract then?
This is something that he's got to answer for, because the one thing about Reece Nelson, I am going to give him the credit he deserves, because every time he's being called upon and he puts the Arsenal shirt on and he comes on, whether it's a start or as a substitution, he gives his 100% on the pitch, leaves nothing, and he's impactful as well. We've seen last season against Nottingham Forest at the Emirates, Saka got injured pretty early on in the game. He showed some faith in Reece and he threw him on. We won the game 5-0. You get me? He scored 2 goals in that game and he was very influential. But the thing is, like you said, you give him $100,000 a week, you give him big wages, you sign him onto a contract, have that faith in him. You get me? Don't hum and ha. Let Saka have a bit of a rest, because ultimately it starts leading to these kind of injuries. And against Bournemouth, he was a passenger for the last 10 minutes or so. He was literally just walking around. He could hardly do anything. He had to tell Arteta, take me off. He was doing his job for him. So that is something that concerns us at the moment. But looking towards the game with City now, we don't really know who's going to be fit, who's going to be starting in what position. He's very unpredictable at the moment, Arteta.
Well, what are the signs? Because obviously Arteta yesterday was talking about, I think his quote was, it doesn't look good for Saka. I don't know if there's been any further updates. I've not heard any. But I mean, is there any, say Saka doesn't make it, have you got any other injury? Because let's be honest, last week, some of your fans, not saying you or anyone, were celebrating Rodri's red card like it was a title when you were, which I get it, because you can see Rodri's so influential within our team. And when you lose that cog, as we saw against Wolves, it was a, what's the word? It was a stretch too far for us to lose Rodri, Bernardo, KDB. It was just too many injuries at that point, and we just collapsed. I mean, have you got a lot of injuries? Is it just Saka who's the doubt? What is it approaching the game?
Martinelli, he seems like he'll be out for the game, which is a massive blow, because he gives us that directness.
That's two of your wide legs on them.
I have a feeling, though, Saka, they'll end up bandaging him up, giving him about 7 injections and sending him out, because I don't know what it is with these. They just don't like to give him a little bit of a rest. But he's potentially out. Martinelli's looks like he's going to be out. Thomas Partey's only coming back from an injury, which I do think he's going to opt with an Odegaard, Rice and Partey midfield like he did in the Community Shield. I think he's going to try to play that kind of system and that kind of team. Obviously, we know Timber's out. Trossard's only just come back from injury as well. He looked a shadow of himself yesterday.
I like Trossard. Really like him.
Quality player, man. But yeah, I don't think we've got any more other than that you could say are going to walk into the first team. But the problem is, for me, the bench isn't good enough. So when these players are out, and say, for example, a Trossard isn't fully fit, what we're replacing him with is just not levels. And on the Rodri situation, to be fair, I'm one of them. I'd rather play City with a Rodri, because I want to beat you at full strength. That's my honest opinion, because then I can really see where we're at.
I get that.
But look, but I can understand the other fans that are happy that he's out against us, because we've seen he scores vital goals against us when he plays, and he's like the glue in the middle for City. And you can see City are vulnerable without him. Against Wolves, you can see the vulnerability was there. So obviously it does work in our favour that he's not playing. But am I too mired if Rodri's there or if he's not? Not for me, to be honest.
I mean, it looks like John Stones is fit, and Bernardo's obviously starting against Leipzig. So I think that's good. It means obviously he's even, you know, it looks like it may be Stones or Bernardo who plays that 6th role on Sunday, which I'm not too. It doesn't dishearten me. I'm quite glad we got some of our injuries coming back. But there was one player I do want to ask about. We both went after him in the summer. You got him. You paid the money. We wouldn't. Declan Rice. How's he fitted in at Arsenal?
He's taken to it like a duck to water. He's absolutely just come in, made the position his own. He's a general. He's a leader. Dominates the midfield. You know what? I can't say a bad word about him. And the biggest props you can give him is you've seen Arsenal over the years without Declan Rice in the team. When Thomas Partey's out injured, it's an absolute madness. You get me? Since Thomas Partey's been injured, we've not even really thought about him once because that's how good Declan Rice has been. Yeah, maybe you could talk about bringing him in and pushing Declan Rice in that more progressive role where Havertz is. But in the holding position, he covers brilliantly. He knows his timing of his tackles to a T. He's vocal on the pitch. And to be fair, if they would say now, give us 150 mil for him, I'd give 150 mil for him. At the time, I was thinking, you know what, 105, 110 mil might be a bit of a stretch for Declan Rice, and we are paying over the odds. But now it looks like a bargain to me.
Yeah, I never get into these price tag debates because managers and fans don't choose. Even the players don't choose the price tag. That goes on at boardroom level. So, and never. But when you're dealing with West Ham and you're dealing with Mr. Sullivan, you're gonna pay a premium. You know that before you even get into the negotiations. That's the way he is. Quite simple. Now I'm going to bring someone that might hurt you. Your record against us in the league. You have not won at the Emirates in the league. You have had a couple of FA Cup wins since December 2015.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, to be honest. City have been a formidable force, man.
I was shocked because I'm a little bit like Steve. I'm old enough to remember when we scored a Highbury, and the only thing we came back with was a cold. You got 0 coming out of Highbury. Honestly, we got 0 there.
Do you know what, Martin? I remember them times as well. Thankfully, I'm old enough to watch when we actually won stuff and when we was at Highbury and we was the best Arsenal there. But you know what? Over the last 20 years, it's been a lot of heartache. It's been a lot of situations at Arsenal where financially we couldn't keep up with our competitors. Look at you guys when you come into the money. What did you do? You stripped us right down. Samir Nasri, Bakary Sagna, Adebayor, Gael Clichy, Kolo Toure, you absolutely, do you know what I mean? So it doesn't come as a surprise to me because only up until last season, we haven't really seen much of a level to Arsenal where we could go out there and compete with the big boys in the division. And you got to give City the props over the last 10 years. You have been the most dominant force in the Premier League. Some would argue and say Chelsea, but I'd say consistently, you can't write off Man City and what the achievements that they've made. I think Pep Guardiola coming into Man City just took you to a different level because I like Mancini when he came in. I think Pellegrini was a bit of a hum and hara, but I think a bit of a stopgap. But City are that team where it's not just the players they have on the pitch, right from the top to the bottom. The structure is amazing. Even if Pep Guardiola did leave City, I do think he'll have a little bit of an impact because such a fantastic coach like that, leaving anyone would have an impact. But the structure you have in place, it's there for somebody to walk in and succeed. Where with Arsenal, we've had people like Raul Sanelli, Sven Mislintat at the top. We've had so many different people there, and we haven't really found the balance and the consistency where now with Eddie and Arteta, at the start with Arteta, it was shaky. I'll be honest, I wasn't with it because I had nothing to go off. And when I'm seeing him finish 8th twice and then bottle the Champions League to Spurs when it was in our hands, I'm thinking, oh, this guy is definitely not for me. But then last season, he gave me some belief and hope. And I do like what I seen last season. Yeah, we fell off. But I honestly believe, and I'm not trying to make excuses because I'm not one for making excuses, Martin, but I think the loss of William Saliba last season at the vital moment, it really did have an impact, because just like we touched on Rodri, what he's like for Man City, Saliba was that guy for us last season. And with him out of the team, we didn't have adequate cover. Rob Holding wasn't going to do it, and it kind of messed us up. But he's given me that belief to think, you know what, we have got the team to go on and challenge. Whether we'll win it or not, that's another situation, because we got no God-given right to go and win the league. You got to compete, and you got to sometimes hope that luck falls in your favour. But I don't know, man. I see it as one of them situations where Man City are the team to beat, and that's it. Regardless of you having 2 defeats on the bounce, you are the team to beat. And if we want to show any kind of improvement from last season, we have to beat you at home. Simple as that.
Yeah, and I've got to say, they are usually, and I know in the past it's been quite a, when you look at a scoreline, convincing wins, but especially over the last 2 trips at the Emirates, last season, I thought, we were decent. I thought that KDB goal changed the game. I mean, I remember Bernardo at left back thinking, well, what's he playing Bernardo at left back for? That was very weird to say. I know Pep likes to experiment, but you never think you'd see Bernardo Silva playing a left back role. But then I think the most closest game I remember was obviously the one the year before, when Rodri scored in the 80-odd minute, 89th minute.
You know what?
That
pissed me off the most, Martin, because
me and Steve travelled down.
For that game, yeah. We was there, obviously watched the game, come back, and I've had to come, Jamo?
Yeah.
So I've had to travel back with Steve and Jamo, yeah. Obviously we booked the Hilton and whatnot. We stayed over. And it was a nightmare, man, because we did a lot in that game to at least get a point.
You did.
We should have really won that game, but it was just a kick in the dick,
Martin. I can totally imagine what it was, and I can imagine Steve probably didn't let up on you either, because you were probably thinking, with 80 minutes gone, you were thinking, yeah, here we go here, and then Rodri popped up. Sorry about that, but what do you think of City start? I mean, we talked about Arsenal start. You said City are the team to beat. With the injuries we've got, are you thinking this could be your best chance to beat us? Or are you thinking 2 defeats on the bounce? Crap, we've got to deal with the wounded animal here.
Do you know what? Yeah, we hear this all the time. Yeah, because
I know.
and it just never ever pans out to be that. City end up just coming back and just absolutely.
I want to see chest. I want to see you go, no, we're going to slap you.
But you know what? I'm a realist though, Martin. You know what I mean? I say it as it is, because, when we're playing well and I have a feeling, or I feel that we're going to win, you'll get all the chest. But I'm not a deluded fan. You get me? I look at football, and I'm a proper footballing man. I look at it with my eyes and not with stats and this, that, and the other. Because when I was growing up, there weren't no such thing as stats. You can see a good player when you see one. You can see good performances when you see one. You get me? All this XP and all of that.
I have this debate with XG when everyone tells me about XG, and I'm like, there wasn't XG 5 years ago. What are we banging on about? But fans take a lot of hype on winning a game on XG, and I'm like, but you still lost.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what? Yeah, I'm happy that you have lost, because now you can't do the invincible, and I think that was probably an achievement that you wanted to get, and Pep probably wanted to get, because you've done pretty much everything now, and it just shows you how tough the invincible season was. You know what I mean? I think you've had a good start, in my honest opinion, because I think, what was it, 3-4 games Pep wasn't on the sidelines due to being ill or something.
Yeah, he had surgery on his back.
Yeah,
and then obviously got his yellow. He got banned. He got his yellow card up at St James's last week, and obviously was banned for the Wolves game. Silly Pep. Yeah. So I think out of the 7 games, 6 games, Pep's not been there for like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, so it just shows you the character that the team have got, because you've come through some difficult situations. I think, was it against Sheffield United away, where he's had a bit of a one of them scares. But look, is one of them in this league. Anyone can beat anyone. We know City are normally beating everybody, and you're surprised when they lose. We've had that over the years when we were flying high at the top alongside Manchester United. If we lost, it was a big shock. But I just feel that if the injuries like Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and losing the likes of Gundogan and stuff like that, I think that could have a little bit of an impact on you this season, because new players do have to settle, like Doku and Nunes and a few other guys that you've brought in. Could that mess up the flow a little bit potentially? Because we don't really see, even though City normally are slow starters, we don't really see City losing games at the start of the season. Maybe they might have a draw here or there, but you don't really see City losing games. And in order to get beat by Wolves, and they were winning 1-0, I believe he's equalised, and then they got the second goal. Obviously, there's debate whether the lad should have stayed on or not, the goal scorer for Wolves. But this shows that there are some frailties there, and you can't get got at. Rodri is not there. Big blow, because I don't think Pep has the faith in Phillips to be in that position. Whether you play a double pivot in there of Kovacic and Nunes, is that going to be solid enough? I don't know. If we are going to be,
I don't think it is. I look at Nunes and Kovacic, and I think they're wonderful going forward. I really do. It's the defensive aspect that they struggle with, which is why I'm so happy Stones and Bernardo are now fit. Bernardo's, he was starting.
Stones is a real plus. Stones is one of your best players last season. He was a real
plus. He's a Rolls Royce.
I am disappointed with Foden, though. I thought with Bernardo being out and Kevin De Bruyne being out, this is his time to shine, really. And for me, he hasn't pulled up any trees.
You know what it is with Foden? They need to find an actual position for him. Trouble with Foden, Pep sometimes plays him as a right wide man, then plays him as like a double 10 with Alvarez a bit. And Alvarez has been outstanding. This is the problem. Alvarez has been absolutely outstanding in probably a very foreign position for him, because he is generally a 9. The trouble is he isn't going to get in ahead of the big Norwegian lad up top. So you think, well, tell you what, drop him a bit further back, play him as a 10, and then that's where Foden's been a bit isolated for me. I love Foden. He's my favourite player, but he's like what worried me with Saturday more against Wolves was the manner we lost. I can quite happily take defeats. I watched us get beat by bloody Bury and Lincoln. I'm not asked about losing games, but on Saturday, I can't sit there and go, you know what, that was unlucky. Yeah, but the ref, it was unlucky. But to a man, 1 to 11, we were not good enough. We were just not at the races completely. And I hope it gives us that spark that Pep's trying to tinker with a little bit of the tactics. We've stopped doing, instead of now inverting the centre back into midfield, we're inverting fullbacks into, we're inverting all over now. And you're like, okay. So it's like Walker. He's inverting Walker a bit, but not as a midfielder, for example. He's got him as like a winger. And then it's really weird the way he's doing it. We're not doing it the way we did last season. And that's what Pep does. He'll never stick to one formation. He will literally
tries to become very unpredictable in it. And I think that's what Arteta's trying to follow.
I think he thinks to himself, well, they're going to figure me out. They watch me all season, they're going to figure me. So what I'll do is I'll change it before they've figured it all out. And it's sometimes that. It's like last season, we were trying to do this new formation and it took the players 4 or 5 months to get used to it. And they couldn't get used to it. But when...
you had Rico Lewis in there as well, innit?
I think January, February time, especially after the Forest game, we sort of clicked and we went, right, we can do this. And then the belief grew and grew and grew and grew. But
do you know what? I think when you put Aki at left back, I think that's when it started to change. And I think that's when you started to become a lot more solider, because Nathan Aki there, he, to be fair, I was surprised that Neto
was my player of the season last year.
Yeah, and this is what was surprising, because against Wolves, I think Neto had him on toast, to be fair to him. I don't think he was the player that he was.
Pep, you had Doku and you had Walker. Walker was isolated on the right on his own. Ake was isolated because Doku is still a young player coming in. It is going forward, he is electric. He's amazing. Doku's got to learn the defensive sort of duties then to track back as well, because that's what Pep wants. A winger for Pep isn't just get forward, take your man on and put a ball in. It's can you do the dirty stuff and track back and cover your fullback? Which is where Ake and Grealish had that really good connection last year of doing that. But Doku's only failing you into the club, and I think he's going to be a fabulous player.
Do you know what?
He really
I
will.
rate him highly. I've been keeping tabs on this kid for a long time, to be fair, over the last 4 years or so. I've been looking at him, and just obviously, I know it sounds crazy and it's mad, but obviously, I play FIFA career mode a lot. And a good few years ago, I brought him on FIFA career, and he was electric. And then when City signed him, I just thought, wow, it's a bit ironic that City signed him. He's going to be a good player.
Well, a few, I think, because we were after him in July, but we were sort of looking at other targets, especially midfielders. But I think as soon as I think there was Chelsea, Tottenham, and somebody else had shown interest, and City just went, "No, we'll get him now."
Get it. So what he does though, he gives you different dynamics. Though he gives you that explosiveness where, a total different option. That's what he gives you. But let me ask you: are you confident about this game after coming off 2 defeats? Obviously, he's got the Champions League or whatnot. Are you confident against Arsenal?
I'm more confident than I was yesterday because I've seen Bernardo fit and Stones fit. If you'd have asked me yesterday when there was that question mark over Bernardo and Stones, I'd have been a bit more, not sure, take a point and get out. But now Bernardo and Stones are back. That Rodri loss won't affect us as much because John Stones, to me, is no longer. I don't look at Stones as a centre back anymore. I look at Stones like the Philip Lam now, what Pep did with Philip Lam at Bayern. And that's what he's kind of doing. I mean, John Stones at one point was playing alongside Haaland last season at some points. That's how far he's pushing him up because he can move that transition forward for you, John Stones, so well. And he will do the dirty stuff. He will tackle. He will get in and pass the ball.
And he's got good footwork as well, Johnny Stones.
Oh, he's Rolls Royce. I love him.
He is good. But the one thing I must say, what has given me a bit of confidence in this game is that I've seen a deficiency in Haaland's goals, and I think that's due to Kevin De Bruyne not being there. We know what he's like. Without somebody like that in the team, obviously the chance creations are not going to be massive. And I think that's where City have been effective, because when you do see a City with even a Gundogan, a Kevin De Bruyne, these kind of players, Bernardo in the team, there's always a lot of chances. Whether they go in the back of the net or not, that's another situation, but chances are getting created. And I don't feel like I've been seeing City create bagfuls of chances. So if obviously KDB is definitely out for this game, like I'm not really too worried about Haaland. I know some people might call me stupid, but obviously you've watched the Arsenal City games. When we have played against you, William Saliba's done a pretty good job against Haaland, but it's just that killer ball and Haaland's turn of pace, which ends up getting us. And I can't see who's going to be playing them balls into Haaland.
It's different now because there's a big debate in the City fan base between Doku and Grealish at the moment. And the thing is, personally, I play them both because one gives you that directness of pace, one gives you the control, so you can kind of do both a little bit.
You know, I think Grealish has been treated a bit harshly though, because he was a fantastic player last season.
Absolutely. Do you know what the scary thing is? People like yourselves, Arsenal, I've even had United fans said to me, "Why are your fan base going in on Grealish?" They're absolutely amazed. They were shocked. They were like, "He was one of your better players, and you're destroying him." Because my mates, United said to me, "You're doing what some of our fans have done with Maguire."
United are just shit, man. They can't speak about anything right about now.
It's really intriguing that I speak to a lot of opposition fans, and they're the ones going, "Why are you slating Grealish?" It's because they want it's like City fans when they lost Sterling and Sane, they wanted the exciting football that them two brought. So you go back to the 17-18 when we got Centurions. I was at 18, one of the two, and we got the 100 points, and we had Sane, Sterling, and we were electric to watch. The problem was that only works to a certain degree because you lose. Pep loves the control still. Pep's not going to give that control up so easy. So again, against Wolves, talks about the loss of control. Control is so important. And to me, you've got to get that balance. There's going to be games where you play Doku, games where you're going to play Grealish, because each team is going to set up very differently against you. And that, to
Yeah.
me, personally, I want to see Grealish against you, because I think in that game you're going to need some of that control. I'm totally honest with you. I'm ecstatic, not ecstatic because I don't wish anyone injuries. I'm happier Martinelli and Saka could be out 100%.
Yeah, I would be
do
if I
think
was you as well. Because
that
even
to me,
Pep always talks dead
yeah,
highly of Martinelli. He knows what he can give and he knows what
I
damage
actually
he can
rate
cause.
Martinelli higher than Saka. I really do. I love Martinelli. I think he's a superb footballer, and him being out gives me more encouragement than a Saka being out. Because if you play, if Ake plays, Saka got no change out of Ake in all the games last season. Ake was quite all right with him, but again, it's because he had that defensive cover alongside Grealish to
Yeah,
help
because they
him
were
out,
double upping on
at the
him all
outlet.
the time.
Exactly. But anyway, let's sort of. I mean, what's your gut feeling on Sunday then? Because I'm not going to say this is a title decider, because I think the first week in October is far too early. Far too early to determine whether. So I'm not going to say, is it a must not lose for us for one of them though? Not
Do you
saying you
know
have
what?
to win, but is it a must not lose for either
I
team?
think it's yeah, I think that's probably the perfect way to put it. It's a must not lose for both teams. I think if City come to the Emirates and get beat, then you're in a risk of really
3
developing a
on the
bit of
bounce.
bad form, 3 on the bounce.
Yeah.
If Arsenal lose, it can be mentally draining for them. They can feel like, you know what, it's the same old story. City are not at full strength. They've lost key players. Yeah, we have as well, but we can't get the result against them. In my heart, look, I'd be totally honest. I've got PTSD against playing against City. Like you said, our record's horrendous. And I think City can beat anyone on their day even with the players that are coming off the bench. I think the depth that you got in the squad is phenomenal. I think the players that could come on, I don't think the level of quality is going to drop massively. Where with Arsenal, I think if certain players are out, the quality is definitely going to be dropped. Just like we've seen against Lens yesterday, we didn't really look like we were firing on all cylinders. I hope, pray, and wish we win the game, but I just can't see it. I think our best outcome is probably going to be a draw in that game. That's how I see it. That's how I honestly see it. I think City are favourites to win. But if somebody said, I'll give you a point now, I'll snap your hand off. I know
I'll
it
be
might not
honest
be
with
the
you.
mentality to have, but I think this
No,
early in
I
the
get it.
campaign, if we end up losing that game, it can really give you a bad mindset for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I think that's why I think it's not necessarily a must win. It's more of a must not lose for either team. I think there's a difference, because I think a point for either team, yeah, you just carry on where you were, and then it's made the best team win. But because I do think Liverpool will be a key element in this title race as well. My issue with Liverpool is how far their squad depth will take them within this title race. Especially
I actually predicted Liverpool to finish second to City. I did at the
I mean,
start
I'll
of the
be honest
season.
with you, I had you down at third, and that wasn't any discredit. That was more of, I thought Liverpool were smart, because I didn't think they should have done a Bellingham. What they should have done is what they did, is spread that money. I think Szoboszlai is an absolute diamond of a player. I'd have loved him at City.
Yeah, we was linked to him a few years back, and we really wanted to go in and get him, and it just didn't materialize, and it was a big fucking blow. But I think Liverpool, I think people sleep on Jurgen Klopp too much. I think he's a fantastic manager. He knows how to get the best out of his players. For me, the reason why I put them in front of us is not because I doubt us or I feel like we're not that good as a team. I just feel that the pressure on us will have an impact. I think last season there was no pressure, where people didn't expect Arsenal to go as far as we did in the title race. People didn't expect us to be 8 and 11 points clear of Man City. Now people are expecting, and when there's expectation on you, historically with Arsenal, it never ends well. So this is why I could just felt that with having the expectation on us, not signing a proper striker, bringing in Havertz, I just seen it as we haven't really strengthened massively. So that's how I see it with the Arsenal at the moment.
I do see that. I mean, I'm gonna go with my head's telling me a squeaky 2-1 win. And that's only because of Bernardo and Stones now being fit. I think if Stones and Bernardo weren't fit, I would have feared. But Stones and Bernardo are gonna take the pressure off a little bit now. Gives us that little bit of something. We can now play our game, especially with Stones being back. I'm praying Haaland gets back to it at some point. Because for me, I'm not saying Haaland's on a drought. It's not a concern for me at all. I think Haaland's changing his game a little bit. He's coming a bit more deeper. Very much like Aguero had to change his game.
He has to. He has to. Without Kevin De Bruyne feeding him them balls, because regardless of what anyone says,
Aguero did it.
He's putting it on the plate for him.
Aguero and Pep had a major clash when Pep walked in, because Pep was like, I want you to come back and receive the ball deeper, like Kane used to do. But Aguero was like, nope, don't do that. I'm the guy in the box who finishes it. Pep's like, no, you're not. You're coming back and being a team player. And that's what Haaland's developing into. So, yes, he may not score as many goals as probably last year, but he'll be a better overall round player by the end of it. And that to me is something that will make more sense. But that's where we're getting probably a few more goals from other areas as well. But like I said, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1.
I hope it don't come back to bite me in the ass come Sunday night. But anyway, no, big up for you coming on, PREMZY. Where can everyone find you, mate? Yeah, plug away.
PREMZY_AFC on Instagram, Twitter, all social platforms, and PREMZY TV on YouTube. But make sure you smash a like on this video first of all, and subscribe to this channel as well, Mancunian Way. Martin, it's been a pleasure to come on. Honestly, I appreciate you for inviting me on, and I've actually enjoyed this chat. It's flew by. It's absolutely flew by. But may the best man win. may the best man win on Sunday.
May the best team win. Have you got any previews coming up or anything on this?
Do you know what? I'll be totally honest with you. I'm going to miss going to the game on Sunday because I've got a baby shower. Obviously, I'm having a little one. And I've told all my family, don't do the baby shower on Sunday. And this was about a month ago, Arsenal City are playing. I was going to go to the Emirates and watch the game. And they only went and booked it on that day. So I've been getting so many things ready for that, to be honest. But I'm going to try to do a preview. I'm going to try Friday, maybe with yourself and Steve. I'm going to have to get onto Big Steve as well. I did speak to him a few weeks back. But yeah, man, I'd love to bring you on the channel. I think you're a pleasure, real mate. Great, man.
And you, by the way, they've done that on purpose to you. As soon as you told them when the game was, they butts it.
My mum's a City fan, ain't she? My mum's a City fan.
So the baby shower, everyone will be on the phones then, checking the scores out.
And just for the people that don't know, because obviously I'm new to this channel, people might think, oh, he's a mankin. Why is he supporting Arsenal? My dad's from London. He married my mum and we moved to Moss Side. So I've had it passed down to me. I've kept it real. You know what I mean? I've gone through all the wars with United. You know
Steve gives you so much shit, so you're all right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's the reason why I'm an Arsenal fan, because people get confused. I think, why is he an Arsenal fan? He's from Manchester. No. That's the reason. My dad's from London, man.
Because he had a choice out of United or Arsenal, and he chose the better team.
Do you know what though? I would have been a City fan, really. My mum's always been a City fan. Obviously, I'm born and raised in Moss Side, so you'd know if you used to go to Main Road.
Yeah.
I was brought up on Wycombe Street. Used to literally come out the house, look right, and City Stadium was there. I made a lot of money from used lot. Do you know what I mean? Car minding and stuff. So
you were the one who used to take the tenner for the car, were you?
Yeah, man. I used to be fair. I had a little bit of a soft spot for City. But when I was younger, my dad just literally Arsenal through and through. So
PREMZY was the kid at the back of U3 Road coming after you for the money.
You get me 50p standard, £5, you're winning, £10, you think you're a millionaire, and the people that didn't pay, they got scratches.
You had to pay as well. It wasn't a case of not paying. You had to pay because you knew your car was going to be all right at that point. But anyway, no, hopefully we'll catch up on Friday. But thank you, PREMZY. PREMZY TV, get over there and show his support. And hopefully the Blues do it to PREMZY's disappointment. And then me and Steve can really gloat to him. But anyway, take care all. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care.